Smooth, straight and sharp edges look good and are necessary nearly on every build, but cutting a quality edge can be challenging to achieve, especially by hand. This is how I make a long straight cut with a handsaw. Welcome to Cosador, Jonathan here. So I want to cut a piece of timber sheet, in my case MDF, but I don't have a table saw and I want to use a handsaw. I'm definitely going to need some help to cut a straight line, so I'm going to need to build a jig. A jig provides repeatability and accuracy, and in this case, it's something that will guide the blade of the saw so that it can follow a line. For this, I will use 2 pieces of timber to gently guide each side of the blade, and I'll attach those lengths of timber together with 2 smaller pieces of timber. The length of the jig is determined by the size of the timber sheet that needs to be cut, the depth of the saw blade, and the pieces of timber that join the guide pieces together. To make the jig, I'm just using some scrap pieces of timber that are nice and straight. I place the saw in between the timber and gently push it together to leave a gap that is an approximate width of the toothed part of the blade. To join the pieces, I put glue on the ends and place the joining piece on, then pre-drill and screw it together. And of course the same for the other end. Now the jig is ready for use. I place the jig on the timber sheet. I measure the timber sheet that I want to cut, from the edge of the sheet all the way to the center line of the jig. The measurement needs to meet up with the inner edge. Then I clamp it, leaving space for the saw to be inserted later. I clamp it on the other side and double check my measurements. To stop the board moving while cutting it, I need to fix it down. I don't want to screw through it, so I use some scrap pieces of timber, placing them on the edge and screwing them to the workbench. Now, I start to cut the board by placing the saw in the space I reserved for it earlier, and start to cut, keeping the saw 90 degrees to the material in relaxed strokes, and I let the saw do the work. Once it's cut, there are teeth marks on the edge, so I get a timber offcut and some sandpaper. I fold the sandpaper around the timber offcut to make an improvised sanding block. Then I sand the edge with long strokes until the tooth marks are minimized. And it's done. I have a nice, smooth, sharp edge ready to use. That's it guys, I hope that you found this video useful, and if you did, please like and subscribe. If you want me to do something else, please drop a comment below. And remember guys, break it till you make it, and I'll see you next time.